Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Jon Lemons. How you doing, man?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm glad to be diving into this with you. Been an athlete with us for just over a year, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about your journey, your story, and everything else. But I'll throw it to you for an introduction. You know who you are, what you do, how you train, and where you're from.
Right on. All right. I am Jon Lemons. I am 37. I live with my wife and two daughters, 7 and 4. We live in Littleton, Massachusetts, which is outside of Boston. We're a town over from Concord, that's where Paul Revere wrote to.
Got it. That's all I needed.
that's my neck of the woods.
Awesome.
Yep. So we're out here in the burbs.
Cool. I'm headed to that area in a few weeks for family vacation. A lot of my family lives some live in Boston, some live in New York, Connecticut. We're going up there. We're flying into Boston actually in the next couple of weeks. So if you got extra space in the garage, I'll have to hit you up.
Come on over, man. This is the time of year to be here.
Yeah, that's what we've been told, and that's why we're doing it. Well, what is your garage gym setup, man? It looks, from what I can see on your video here, it looks awesome already. The size of it.
Cool. Yeah. So my house is over there. I am at my detached garage, which is, a fair distance away. So it's not heated or anything, but this is the setup. It's a 25 by 25 garage. And I took over one bay. I originally had 2 bays, but then I got this stupid big lawnmower that's taking up the other one. So I got the horse stall mats like everybody. And I forget what this model is, but it's it's one of the racks from Rogue. And I have my GHD over here. We got a couple barbells. I just picked up a safety squat bar, which I'm excited. I've tried it once or twice, but I'm excited to start using that. I got some bumpers and I got some iron plates that I found on Craigslist, and a box jump, my GHD in the corner. And then my favorite thing is my power blocks.
Awesome.
They go up to 90. I bought them, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago when I was in an apartment, and I wanted to be able to work out from home if I couldn't make it to the gym. I got them a great deal on Craigslist with a adjustable bench as well. And they're the best. And then my other favorite thing is the Airdyne. I got an Airdyne Pro also on Craigslist back in the winter. I had the 82, I think it's called, like the original, sort of the entry level one.
Yeah.
That one's interesting. It doesn't keep track of, it only keeps track of one thing at a time. You can only see one metric at a time, right? So if you're doing calories, you got to wait 30 seconds for it to go around to the next time it shows calories. So it was good enough, but finally I decided to upgrade, and I love the new one too.
I had one of those older Airdynes before I ended up gifting it to a friend. But yeah, I was keeping any sort of metrics was hilarious on there because it was just impossible to be accurate or get timely information.
Not only did I not get a time, it also counted the calories way fast. So I thought I was Superman when I was doing it, because I was like 21 calories. That's like 8 seconds of work. I got this, I don't think it's the same.
Yeah. And the newer models, you're like, this isn't 1 calorie yet.
It's so much harder.
Well, it sounds like you got power blocks 10 plus years ago, man. So I'm interested to know, how long have you been doing the training at home thing?
So when we moved to this house 7.5 years ago, And when we did, my oldest daughter, who's 7.5, I guess maybe we moved 6.5 years ago. She was about 1 when we moved in. There was no gym in the area that had babysitting. I'm a stay-at-home dad, full-time father, whatever you want to call it. And there was no place to bring my kids, so I really had no choice but to start working out in the garage, which is I like working out by myself anyways. That's great. So that wasn't a big deal, but it's chilly out here, in the winter. I put up insulation. It wasn't insulated, but I put up insulation, but I haven't put a heat or anything out here. It would take too long to heat the place up by the time, it's a waste of energy and all that. Anyways, I started working out in the garage when we first moved in, which was wonderful and rough. And that's still sort of how I feel about it, honestly.
Just is the rough part the winter part of it?
The winter's not great because it's sort of daunting to come out here and get started. But
you're not like a lot of people, the attached garage, they're just going through their house. You probably have to traverse some snow with the.
You got to bring your sneaks out with your boots on and everything. But the winter, it's sort of like shoveling snow. After the first 10 minutes or so, it's not that cold anymore. It's dark. You have the window. The garage doors closed. And it's sort of dark, but there's no wind coming through, and so you sort of heat up. But what's hard is, especially when I started, was I'd have to like time it around my kid's nap, and so I'd have to go keep checking on her in the car, and I'd either set up this whole system. I did like run an extension cord with a fan to keep her cool, or I'd turn the car on every so long to keep the heat going so she's nice and warm. And then your work gets cut short, or she wakes up early, or what, so that's what's rough about the working out from home, when instead of just dropping them off with somebody. But like I said, they're 7 and 4 now. They can take care of themselves to an extent these days.
For an hour, it gets right. Yeah,
exactly. It gets easier every day.
Yeah, but that's dedication, man. I think a lot of people would have just been like, you know what, I'm just gonna not work out. Sounds like you're figuring it out no matter what, and that's the most important thing. So that's awesome.
That would be so much worse.
Yeah. So what are some of your goals that you're after right now, if any?
My goals, I don't have any particular metrics that I'm going for. I would like, in the next year, maybe, I think it'd be cool if I could get competitor in everything. There's a handful of them that I'm not there yet, and I don't know if I'll get there in the next year or not, but that'd be a nice goal. Honestly, my biggest goal is staying injury free. Injuries, they're just tough, man. They're really tough. And one of the things I really like about this programming is, since I've started it, I have not had injury. I still have some leftover injuries. Those have been getting better, but I haven't been injuring myself. When I used to do like CrossFit type stuff, I was just constantly bludgeoning myself, right? And then it was a shoulder for this month, and then it was my hip, and then it was my back. And so my goal is to stay injury free and feel good, and keep getting stronger and faster and stuff as we go.
Yeah, and I think that should be really the top of everybody's list. I know with the recent back trouble I had, that's staying injury free is at the very top of my list, because that one, it took a lot longer to recover than I had hoped for. So I'm just like, yeah, that's going to be goal number one over anything else. So I feel very similarly to you, is just like, let's just keep moving and not get hurt in the process.
Yeah. So working out though is not that's going to happen no matter what. That it's miserable if I don't. So that part, the motivation is sort of built in. It's like I would feel terrible if I didn't work out. So that I don't have to motivate myself for that. So it's nice to have a goal to aim for, though.
Yeah. And what were you doing pre-garage gym athlete? I know you've been with us for a year. Seems like you've been into fitness for a long time. So what has that journey been, I guess? Like how long have you been doing more active things, and what have they been?
Well, I played sports growing up. In high school I played football and baseball, and that's when I started working out, and really like working out. I like sports the most. Playing sports is the best. And I thought I was going to college to play football. I ruptured my spleen and I lost like 50 pounds, and I was pretty undersized anyways. And I made a bad decision, ended up not playing. I probably could have by the time I heal. It's not a forever injury, but I had made friends who weren't on the football team. I didn't really like the guys on the football team, and I ended up never playing, which I regret. But point is, in college, I kept, even though I wasn't playing a sport, you do intramurals and that kind of stuff, and I kept working out. I really liked it, but I did this sort of bro stuff. I just wanted to be really big and strong, and then after school, I needed to fit into a suit, so I couldn't keep lifting so heavy all the time. So I added more cardio to the mix, but it was still a lot of try to be big and strong and athletic. The endurance stuff, the only way I came anywhere close to anything endurance wise was just to try to stay somewhat lean. Up until I joined Garage Gym Athlete, I had only run 2 miles one time in my life. It was in college, and I did it once just to see if I could do it, and I did it, and that was the only time I ever did.
That's awesome.
I hate long distance running. Long distance meaning like not a sprint. Anyways, I never touched that, but then my brother-in-law got me into CrossFit, and I never joined a box or anything, but I did it at the Globo gyms I belonged to, or then I did it out in this garage. And I tried to start, I think what you had said you had done, which was I tried to do some of the, I don't know if it's powerlifting, but lift heavy and lift sort of hypertrophy stuff, but also mix in CrossFit almost as like my cardio.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm not going to go for a jog. And I was working out so hard, and I was eating pretty well, and I was so hard and so often. And I was like, man, I don't look or feel as good as I probably ought to get. There was an imbalance in terms of how much effort I was putting in and sort of the results I was getting out of it. And as I said, I was sick of just bludgeoning myself and being injured all the time. So that's when I found you guys.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know if we've actually discussed that before, but yeah, I was really into that. Just basically that same combo for a while, and then it was actually a picture of me with my shirt off that made me think the very similar thing. Like, I was like, man, you're doing a lot, and like you probably look the worst you probably ever have. And so there is a point of not just smarter training, but maybe doing a little bit less or doing smarter things. And it's counterintuitive to what people think, and so I think that's a really
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, I mean, the zone 2 stuff, I hadn't heard much about zone 2 itself, but I always heard sort of low intensity for a while, and I was like, well, if low intensity is good, then what if I just do the same amount, but I just do it harder, right? That's got to be even better, And no, I guess it's not.
Yeah, and that's it's conflicting just because there's some research on high intensity interval training being good, but it doesn't mean it's like vitamins are good, but you shouldn't just have way too much all the time, right? Like
Right,
there's
yeah,
a
exactly.
dosing for this stuff. So that's great, man. So how was that transition though? I would love to hear, hey, I'm gonna run 2 miles just to see if I can, to now we're saying, hey, you should do some 50 minutes of zone 2. Like how has that been?
It was tough at first. You know what really helped me? One of the things that um, one of the things that I always struggle with, one of the reasons I hated just even running, but sort of any sort of endurance thing was pacing. I didn't really understand pacing because the whole time I was saying 2 things. I was saying, one, you can go faster than this because obviously you can, right? You can run
Yeah.
faster than you're doing it. Also, I was saying, I hate this so much. I don't know if I'm going to make it another 15 feet.
Right.
So it was these conflicting things. Like I have to stop immediately. Also, you need to go harder. And what really helped me was when I got a heart rate monitor, and I was like, all right, that's sort of just doing the work for me now, where it's like, you can go fast. And I look at my watch, it's like, nah, man, you're not fit enough to go fast. Like this is as fast as you ought to be going right now. Your heart's pumping. You're getting a good workout. That helped me a ton because now I could just sort of take it out of I'm not in my head anymore. Right. And I just know like, well, okay, you can go a little faster. Your heart rate's down a little bit. You can go fast, or this is as fast as you can go. And that's made it a lot more manageable.
That's awesome. Yeah, paying more attention to what you're actually doing. And I would say I've had a very similar struggle. When I used to run several years ago, it was exactly, I mean, I wouldn't even wear a heart rate monitor back in the day. So it was probably just like zone 4, zone 5 until I felt
Yeah.
like I was going to burn out and die. And then, how not beneficial that is to your overall fitness. But it happens to a lot of us. So I think, it's good that you found the zone 2. But you feel like mentally less likely to quit at these lower intensities? I mean, I know you're not quitting. I'm just saying that mindset shift you're talking about of like, I don't want to go another 15 feet. Does a slower pace help with that?
The slower pace absolutely helps with that. And I quite enjoy that. I always heard people who were runners would be like, yeah, you get like a runner's high, or even just like you get in the zone, you just sort of, you can do a lot of clear thinking and stuff when you're running. I was like, I get it, but no, I've never come close to that. And I've sort of gotten there now.
Yeah. When they say get in the zone, they specifically mean zone 2 and they don't even know
Yeah, that's right.
it.
That's what I tell. I preach it now.
Awesome, man. Well, how do you like training in your garage overall?
Um, as I said, it's a love hate. I love it if it was this weather, if it was June, or I guess it's July today, all year round, and I had someone to watch the kids, this would be the best place you could possibly work out. I love being by myself, or even if I have neighbors come over and stuff and work out. But I like not being in a gym and waiting for other people and that kind of stuff. I like having the doors open. I got a nice long driveway, so I can do my runs up and down the driveway. It's great. But it's not like this all year in Boston. So it is tough in the winter, and it is the hardest part is with the kids. But if you take those factors out, this is as good as it gets. I love being out in the garage any day over going into a Globo gym.
Yeah, and did the insulation help with the cold at all?
It helps. Yeah, it does. It
Okay.
helps.
Yeah.
But not. I mean, I didn't do a super thorough job. There's a big attic above this space that I didn't insulate, and it's an open access to that attic, and there's some air coming in and out.
Yeah, that's funny.
It doesn't get warm.
I had to insulate my garage to keep the heat down, and you have to do it to keep the heat in, and it's
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well, I think that's the primary purpose of insulation for the most part. But let's
It does keep it cooler. It does keep it cooler, actually. This week we've had a heat wave. I've kept the garage doors down, and it's at least 15 degrees cooler in here than it is outside. The only issue is it's so humid. I can't do broad jumps and stuff on my mats because it gets so damn slippery. That's why I have a towel over there to do squats. My feet kept sliding out because of the humidity on the mats.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Florida style humidity right there. I didn't know Boston
Yeah,
was like that.
so my mom actually moved to Florida last year. She's been up for the last week visiting. She's been looking at her phone, which has her weather on it, and it's actually been significantly hotter here than it's been in Sarasota for the last week.
Wow. Yeah, it's some
Yeah,
crazy weather going around.
yeah,
Um, cool, man. Well, let's get into these other questions. What's the hardest
yeah.
workout you've ever done?
This sounds silly, but Fran from CrossFit,
Mm-hmm.
which is for people who don't know, it's a couplet. It's 95-pound thrusters and pull-ups, and it's 21, 15, 9 of each. It's a very quick workout. So it's weird to say that's the hardest work because it's so quick. But it's so short that it's one of the only ones I've done where there's no pacing whatsoever. You don't even like you go unbroken. 95 pounds, at least when I used to do it, was just light enough that I could go unbroken, and the pull-ups were just enough that I could go unbroken. I push so much harder than I do on any other workout. That stimulus was something that I didn't get anywhere else. Even though it's over in 2 minutes and 45 seconds or whatever it is, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. But really, the hardest workout is sort of anything with running and L sits. I can't do L sits.
Yeah, L sits are very difficult. And Fran, there's something special about that workout, should I say that? So I got this several years ago as well, but I did my CrossFit level 1, and they had us do Fran. I guess that was kind of like a tradition, at least back then, for doing that. They'd make everyone do Fran, and just the metabolic demand after the fact
Yes.
is crazy to me. Is
Yeah.
because you would do it. And you feel, I don't know, you probably feel fine until, because I was right around in that range, like high 2 minute, low 3, something like that. And you feel okay, maybe up until like 15 seconds before you're going to finish. You're like, okay, yeah, this is getting crazy. But that's not even where it gets bad. It's like
Right.
after, and it can be, it depends. Like I've done the workout a lot of times very fast, and it can be for 5 minutes, it can be 15, it can be 35 if this is your first time doing it, going all out. And that is a very, very crazy workout. The combination of kipping, pull-ups, and thrusters for some reason is just it's a
You
lot.
can't breathe. You can never breathe.
Yeah.
But the thing that is so hard about for me is just because you never stop. And like, you just can't get through even a 7-minute workout without coming up for air a little bit, right? But every time in frame where it's like, okay, I back off and not redline and try and like, well, I'm close enough to the end that I just keep going. It's brutal.
Yeah. All right, man. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
A lot of people have had good answers for this. In terms of, a physical endeavor that's going to build mental toughness, push you past where your brain's saying stop. One thing that I've actually found is find something you can do it on that is going to be safe for you in terms of an injury, so that you can push as hard as you want without having that excuse of like, you know what, this is starting to hurt, I do need to back off. So it's sort of like when I used to put my kids down for a nap. You got to check off every box before you do it, so that if you're letting them cry it out, you're like, all right, I know they're not hungry, so that I don't need to go get them. I know they don't have a dirty diaper or whatever. Like I check that off the box. So you can just, it's easier to say, all right, I checked those boxes, I can let them cry it out. Here it's like, if I'm doing thrusters or something like that, like at some point my back's really, it is legitimately going to hurt. And then you get into the point of where you're like, all right, do I want to stop because this is really hard, or is this actually genuinely hurting me? It's probably both, right? But if you can find something where you can just go without worrying about it injuring you, it sort of frees you up to just embrace the pain and just go through the pain. And that's one of the things I found with my Airdyne is I love that you can just go, and it's not going to bust anything up. You're not going to hurt your shoulder. You're not going to hurt your hips. You can just go without worrying about injuring, and push past where you otherwise would stop.
Yeah, I think the Airdyne, that is a phenomenal place. I think it's basically impossible to get injured on an Airdyne, but there's a lot of pain that can come out of an Airdyne as well. So that's a great point.
The other thing for building mental toughness would be have kids, right?
Yep.
People have said that before. Be a grown man, spend 45 minutes playing imaginary play with fairy and mermaid figurines on the ground, seated on the floor for all day, every day. That'll build some mental toughness.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they know, awesome. They know when you're not doing a good job too.
Yeah, you can't. You're not into this. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
That's so true. All right, man. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I've been thinking about this one. Pull-up bar is a great answer that a lot of people said. I get so much use out of the power blocks. They go up to 90, so that's about as strong as I think I need to be. I can do floor presses with them. I use them. I don't have kettlebells. I'm just too cheap. Those work close enough. They look well enough to use for kettlebells. So, man, I get a lot of mileage out of those. And I have a bad shoulder, so a lot of, like, sometimes strict press. I don't do a lot of strict press and stuff. I use a lot of stuff. I use the dumbbells a lot instead of barbells. I can't bench anymore, so I do a lot of dumbbell bench. Man, I get a lot of mileage out of those.
That's awesome. Yeah, and dumbbells are they're so versatile, and the fact that you locked those in 10 years ago are even better.
$600.
Yeah,
$600 awesome. Came with the bench.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, Joe normally asks this question: if you could be granted any piece of equipment for free today, what would it be?
I have a bad lower back, so the reverse hyper would be pretty cool, but I've never actually used it. I've done kind of a makeshift one on my GHD. It seems to feel good, but without having experienced it, that sounds like it'd be great. As I'm trying to run more, that assault runner would be really cool, because there's a lot of times during the year where either weather-wise I can't go off a run, or I got the kids and I can't. I can only run up and down the driveway so many times,
Right.
So that would be really helpful. So I think one of those two, in terms of big ticket things. The thing that I actually do want to grab soon is a vest. I just been cheap and haven't picked up a vest yet, but that's a missing piece to my equipment here that should be easy to put in, and seems like we get a lot of mileage out of at this programming.
Yeah, all great options. All right, man. What is your best advice for all the garage gym athletes out there listening right now?
Consistency. I've worked out pretty consistently since I was in high school, but there have been times where I miss days here and there, miss chunks of time, and it's really, really demotivating. It's really hard. It's Sisyphusian, right? Or how do you say it? You're rolling that ball up the hill, and then it rolls right back down, and it's hard to just go back. It's nice to go to the gym or work out, and feel like you're making progress every time. It's really tough to be like, all right, I got to go do this hard workout, and all I'm doing is like playing catch up. I'm just getting back to where I ought to have been, or just making up for the stuff that I've missed. It's really demotivating, So if you can go whatever it is that is often enough for you, that you feel like you're continually making gains, it's huge. So on the days you don't feel like it, just go. People talk about like you do zone 2 a lot, or just do the warm up and see how you feel after that. Just get in there and keep going, so that you keep that ball rolling.
Awesome. I love it, John. Well, I appreciate you being a garage gym athlete, and congrats on making it a year, and we're really glad to have you. And great work and everything that you've done, and thanks for all that you've shared with us.
Thanks to you guys. Appreciate it.
To the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.